Welcome to the GHRC talk show, a talk show which is being presented by the global HR community for the benefit of our members. In this series, we engage with thought leaders, business leaders, people managers to address the trends and challenges facing the business and, of course, to address the challenges with regard to managing the people at the workplace. Through this talk show, we plan to engage, discuss insightful discussions that aims to inform, inspire, and shape the future of people management and to bring in excellence through people. This talk show also aims to showcase some of the best business ideas, models, and practices that will largely benefit the business and the people community. This talk show is more than just a talk show. It's a series that helps us to understand the dynamic world of business management and people management and how organizations can gain a competitive advantage through their most valuable asset, people. In today's talk show, we are featuring one such company which is in the space of AI and data sciences and automation. We're talking about a company called the IndiVillage, which is part of the Machani Group, a $800 million business conglomerate with diverse interests ranging from manufacturing and real estate to leading edge technology companies. They support the world's leading companies with end-to-end solutions for all their e-commerce, analytics, and AI needs. Founded 13 years ago, they have over 100 global customers, 1,000 employees across 7 offices, and have presence in India, US, and the UK. IndiVillage has several offices in Indian cities. Data annotation, e-commerce work is carried out in the centers in Yemmiganur, Raichur in Anantapur. Basi and Kaimo centers are dedicated women-only centers empowering the first generation of female earners in these communities. And Bangalore serves as a headquarters with administrative, technical, sales, and marketing. Their list of impressive customers include Elysian, Appen, Amazon, JioMart, Myntra, Swiggy, Syndigo, Taranis, ZenCity, Samsung, and many others. IndiVillage provides comprehensive AI, data sciences, and automation services to their business and customers. To talk to us about the business model, the business practices, and some of the people practices, we have with us on today's talk show Priyanka Malhotra, the Chief of Staff of IndiVillage. Priyanka, welcome to this show and thank you for taking your time out to be on this show. She is a chartered accountant with 13 years of experience, apart from a mandatory articleship in finance, accounts, auditing, and taxation. She is very proficient in recommending procedures with proven ability to achieve financial discipline and enhance the overall efficiency. She has been with the IndiVillage Tech Solutions as the Chief of Staff since May 2023 and earlier has been working in organizations like QuickJet Cargo, Boston Financial Advisory Services, and of course, in many other organizations. She is playing a responsible and leading role in terms of operations, managing and handling finances, HR, admin, and compliance, budgeting, management report system, team handling, and interaction with all the important stakeholders. So Priyanka, Before we start, I would just like to understand from you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, about your career, and how you ended up as being the chief of staff at the IndiVillage Tech Solutions.
Good morning, sir. First of all, very thanks for this opportunity. So I started my career, so I qualified my chartered accountancy and company secretary, so which was a big dream for a small city people. So I also belong to a small town. So after this, I started my career. My career started, I worked as a statutory auditor, I worked as an internal auditor. I started with the outsourcing model company also. So in my last job, I was heading finance department of a leading cargo airline, which you mentioned previously. So when I was looking for another job opportunity, I came across this IndiVillage Tech Solution. So that time they were hiring a finance person. So I did my research. I saw so they are empowering women, they are generating employment, and overall they are giving the livelihood in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So I was excited. So I just applied and I gave the interview. I came here. I joined here as a finance person. So this month, and it will be 1 year complete. So I started as a journey with finance person. Now I am guiding HR. So you can imagine a core finance person with 15 years of only finance domain. So I've started doing this experiment and started taking care of other things. But here in IndiVillage, if you see the respect for the employees, they respect culture, they respect your freedom, and especially when it comes to females, it is something a great place to work here. So this is my brief journey.
Great, good to have an outside-in perspective with the finance person as being a chief of staff and also managing the HR operations. Priyanka, I just want to understand from you that IndiVillage was founded to bridge the gap in technology and employment for rural India. What a great initiative, right? What are some of the initial challenges you faced, and how have this evolved over the years?
But you rightly mentioned, so IndiVillage vision is to open the centers across India, right? Mainly in tier 2, tier 3 cities. So the main challenge it comes to when you identify a location, you start hiring people there. When it comes to client requirements, so the biggest challenge was to train the people as per the client's requirement. But initially, this was a challenge, but gradually now IndiVillage is 14 years old. So we started business and then now we have a trained team. So now we know clients' requirement. We have multiple clients. We have served more than 100 clients till now, and many are our routine clients, right? So all these things, so setting a process as per the requirement of client is something which initially was a challenge, but gradually down the line now we have all the experienced team. We have close to 800 people on board right now. So with all these things, we have gained significant experience in training the people. So initially, like when you board a client to settle a new process, first 3 months are like a pilot, and then you will find something or other thing. But gradually, everything is okay.
Can you tell us a little bit of the profile of the people that you hire from the rural villages? What are typically a profile of these people are?
See, basically, we look for a people in rural areas. Like sometimes we take graduates. We see education is no bar for people entering into village. It is mainly when you have that passion and zeal to work, right? Right. But we look, what we do is we see the attitude, we see the reading writing abilities, we see the presence of mind, we see the common sense. So these are the main things which we just check before evaluate before hiring a candidate. So main thing is the attitude here, and then how early you are used to these training processes.
Great. So, in a world which is very competitive today, where qualification plays a big part of the selection process, it is so gratifying to note that IndiVillage does not just look at qualification, but also looks at
Yeah,
other softer aspects of personality like attitude while
right.
trying to identify potential candidates for the IndiVillage. Now, can you share to us some success stories of how IndiVillage has impacted the lives of individuals and more than that, communities in its various locations? I've heard a lot of stories about some of the communities that in which you operate, how you have been able to impact not just individuals but also communities. Can you share some success stories?
Yeah. So IndiVillage is working in 5 different states right now. We have 8 centers across these states. See, I will especially like to mention that many of our employees are first generation earners, right? They are basically from an agriculture background or mainly ladies. So in India, you know how people have this conservative mindset. They don't allow the ladies to step out of the house
Right.
for work, especially. So when we see these stories, so we opened our, now we have 3 only women center. One is in Kanpur, which is in Madhya Pradesh. We have a center in Basi, which is in Jaipur, Rajasthan. We have a center in Varanasi now. Varanasi is our recent center. These 3 are only women center. So when we meet these ladies, we come to know the challenges they face on day-to-day basis. Before starting, so when someone has done a graduation in a remote location, anyways parents don't allow them to study, but in case they allow them to study and they complete, then only next target is to settle them. Job is nowhere in the picture. So we came across this Kamur center. So Kamur center we started and then Basi and then now recently Varanasi. So Kamur is now 82 women center. We don't have any single male employee there. So our team leads there, Ekta, Priya. So when we come across their stories, like they face many challenges in their life, like a small town girl, not having basic, like not basic facilities are there, but nothing else than that. They are not having any opportunity to work anywhere because there is no jobs. There is lack of community support, right? In the very young age, those ladies when came to IndiVillage, they were working as a TPA. They got selected as a TPA, which is our first level of uh, first level. So then they started, and within 7 8 months, they got promoted as team leaders. They become financially independent. They are they are able to support their families, and moreover, they are inspiration for other rural girls. They get so much of respect in their community now. They are excellent in their work. They manage their teams very nicely. They work pretty well. Like you give them a new process, you give them a new challenge, you just guide them a bit, and they make sure they will do everything. They are so when we look at the joy and pride in their eyes, now it's a out of world feeling. So very proud. They say like we can support our family. Like if there is no male support in the house, unfortunately someone is not having father or a brother, and he or and she is able to earn something and contribute to her family. It is a different kind of the
Absolutely.
pride, joy in their eyes is something which make us motivated, like as if we are doing something good.
Absolutely. You're touching the lives of not just the individual, but also the families and the communities. Now, continuing on this topic, there must have been a lot of parental and community pressure because the rural industry would want people to be focusing on their traditional industries like agriculture and other areas. So, how did you overcome the parental pressure? Was there any parental pressure, and how did
Yes.
you overcome that, or how did you influence them?
Right. So when you go to this remote location, you have the aim to open a women-only center, right? When it is a mixed center, you will not have a determined ratio like and how much females will get, how much male will get. The candidates will not segregate with the genders. But when you go to open a women-only center, so you need only women, right? And when you approach people there, you will hear that our females will not step outside the house, right? It is there, it is reducing day by day, it is reducing. It is not like before, like ages before it should be like
Yeah,
ladies are not supposed to step out, but now it is changing. But in many places, many areas, it is still the same. They are not ready to let their girls go out of the house. So if they are not having anything to it, they are not having any income, they are happy with that. But now in these places, when we find a suitable candidate through any of the foundation or any of the other NGOs working there, they are training them, they are doing some skilling. But when it comes to job, they will say no, it's not allowed. They are not supposed to stay out like after 4 outside the house. They have to reach back. They have to take care of everything. So in these cases, what we do the sessions with parents. Like we tell them what we exactly do, what is our motive. It's nothing like we are not. They feel like when our kids will go out, they will be spoiled. So we tell them it is something we are giving them the opportunity to learn something, to understand new things, and then once they are ready and they are skilled, we will be getting some financial things also, financial independence also. So when we talk to parents, the only thing we understand is they are more concerned about their safety and security. So when they go daily to a job, how they are secure and safe there. So we assure them this is what we have these centers, we have the security there. No one from outside can go inside. There are proper restrictions to access. Only authorized persons can go inside. Then they somehow get ready for the trial. So when after 2 months, when they see the change in their girl, like they are more confident, they are telling the stories at home. This is they learned new. This is what they have. They got to know from other colleagues or from the trainer. So then there is a sea change. The father immediately started dropping their girls to work. They even brothers come to give lunch to office. They come to pick them up, right? So we keep a shift so that they will reach the house before sunset, right? It should not be dark outside. We should maintain the curriculum. We should maintain the decorum of the community that they should reach home safely. So when we do all these things at the end, when they earn, they grow, parents are also very happy. So they support. If some point of time they are late for work and they are running for their work, so my shift is starting. They will come and give lunch there, see the cooperation. In initial phase, they are against it and then they start supporting the families. So this is how counseling is the only thing. We just discuss and tell them what exactly we do.
It's a triangular effort of the IndiVillage organization, the individual, and the parent and community.
Right.
So, Priyanka, I just want to ask, typically, what are the type of work that these people do in the IndiVillage tech solutions in these rural organizations? What are the typical nature of work that they do?
See, basically, they do some kind of we have different projects basis on our client's requirement. It can be e-commerce, it can be image annotation, data sciences. So it all depends which type of work they are doing. So for our e-commerce client, it can be kind of product description. So basically, these are our main categories when it comes to agriculture. So some crop related things also we do. So see, we have a rich talent who is having the agriculture background. So at that point of time, they see the images, they distinguish between crops, weeds, diseases. We have a healthcare segment also. So these are the varieties where we train the people as per the requirement. So we hire people on the basis of a particular project. So suppose it is for e-commerce, then we'll train them on an e-commerce segment. Though we shuffle people in between the processes, but generally if you start with one thing, then at least for some point, at least for a few months, you do the same thing before getting shuffled to the next process. So this is what they do at the early level.
These people, I'm not very sure, I may be wrong, they are not very digitally savvy to start with, given the infrastructure and the socioeconomic conditions in their homes. So, how do they adapt themselves to the digital space or into the digital world at the workplace?
See, so digital thing, see, everyone is used to mobile and technology these days.
Okay.
Right, they are having some kind of smartphones. If you check, I think 95% of the people will be using mobile, and what we train them is like when we bring them on job, we train them for our basic requirements. So they first they learn how to operate a laptop or a desktop. See, these things are not available at their
Exactly.
right. So what we do, we start them with a basic training, like how to do this, how to operate a system, how to do the main thing. Then we take them to, if it is a software related thing, we train them to a particular process. So it is like a step by step, we take them further. And I think within about 3 months, those people are ready to start
Deploy.
their work. Before 3 months, we can deploy them on work. So it is with operating system, and then from the software, then into how to manage things, how to work, how to see. Other than tech savvy things, also we have to train up the community also how to stay in office, how to behave, how to speak to others. All these things because they are coming from a background who they have never seen all these things. If a graduate is coming from a college, he or she is also requiring a training because they are freshly passed out people. So we start with the basic step, and then we, as per the requirement, we'll take them to the next process and we'll train them.
Very interesting. And when you started, you said that most people are used to mobile phones and having smartphones. I think people don't realize the importance of the mobile penetration and the coverage in India, and how it has transformed the lives of not only the urban cities but also the rural and the rural folks, right? So that
Right.
brings me to your next question. Is language a barrier? Because uh, for most of us, we think English is the standard language in corporate world, but operating from a rural area, has language been a barrier because people are not very fluent in English or are limited communication skills? How did you overcome that challenge, or what has been your experience in this regard?
See, language is not a constraint as far as I feel, because see, so now we have a mix of centers. Like we have in South and we have a few centers in North. South people speak, if they are not proficient in English, they speak their local language, either Tamil, Telugu, Kannada. And same when you go to North, we see people speaking very fluent Hindi, some bit of Rajasthani language in their touch. See, all these things are there, but see, at the end, goal is same. See, we all are here for employment. When we bring them on board, we are already aware in the mind that there is this kind of communication gap can be there. So with the North people, they try to communicate in pure Hindi. So what we do, we maintain our curriculum like this. When we do the training, we make sure either we use very simple English or we explain them in Hindi. Right. Same when we do it in the South, what we do, we use a local language here as far as the simple English we use. So all these things are already a settled process. So when we open a center, we hire people, it is already in the mind. If we are hiring in these locations, we are ready for that location so that local people can understand the language. If they're not understanding, we can't train them. So now we have a mix of, we have a lot of employees now who can speak all these language very fluently. Right. So then when we have in-house skill, we can communicate. So then language is a good barrier for us. See, our goal is to bring them, to train them, to employ them, and then to generate livelihood. So language is never a barrier in generating livelihood for them, which is our. So we help each other. So if someone is not understanding it, we can make out. We know beforehand that they are learning it. They are in the process of learning it. So we just communicate the local language. And see, people in North right now, if they are lacking this skill, so we have started a program. We are training them in English speaking also. So we have started these programs also, so that gradually down the line, our employees should be comfortable with all the languages, at least
Right.
English and their basic language. They know they are fluent in that. So we put them, and now we are teaching them how to communicate a bit in English, not very fluent. Our target is not to make them will not communicate, but we just make them comfortable with all the languages.
Very, very heartening to note that language is not a barrier, because otherwise we'll be alienating a large section of the society who are not very fluent in the Western languages.
Right.
So the hybrid model really helps. And as you said, over a period of time, you train them into the formal Western languages so that people can come up to speed. What's been your experience? If I were to ask you, I wouldn't want to compare, but then given the fact that how do you compare the work ethics and then the uh, work practices of these rural employees or students or employees versus, say, some of the urban counterparts?
As you know, we are all the centers are in tier three cities, right? So we are mostly dealing with the rural areas. So if you see, rural employees are having a strong work ethics, they're loyal to employers, they have they value their communities, they value their practical skills, they are hands-on on work, they contribute directly to the local economy. Rural employees mainly prioritize their job stability, reliability, and they are not after the rapid career advancement. Whereas when it comes to urban people, they're more ambitious, more career focused. So they always seek a opportunity to do specialized expertise. So it is more fast paced. When it comes to urban employees, they're more fast paced, they are more competitive, right? They're impersonal compared to the rural setup. So rural setup is very, very personal thing. But at the end, urban and rural doesn't make any. So they have the same values, they have the same principles, they have the same ethical standards. The difference lies in the work environment and their priorities. Right.
So the priorities, yeah. Go ahead, Priyanka.
No. So it is just the priorities. So like you will see less attrition in rural areas, you will see more attrition in urban areas. So there is a thing, but the principles and ethical standards are almost same.
So, am I to understand that it's more competitive and advantageous for us to open more rural centers rather than urban centers? Because you said attritions are low, the career aspirations are significantly less, they are more loyal, they are more loyal to the skills, to the communities. So, as a businessman, where do you think we should put our money in the urban centers or the rural centers?
See, if we have to open a center, we always choose a rural area, not because of these benefits, but because of our vision. Very rare companies are going in the rural areas. See, many people can migrate, but there is a handful of crowd like they don't want to migrate due to n number of reasons, either due to their parents, due to the elderly, or maybe due to their roots in the towns, right? So if you open the center in rural areas, you're generating opportunities for the people to work in their place, right? They don't have to migrate out of their comfort level. The elders don't have to wait for their children like months together. If you are working in a big city, you can't visit your parents, right? So all these things gives benefit to IndiVillage as well as to the rural youth, that they are getting opportunities in their birthplace. Right.
So it's a win-win situation, win-win for the organization, for the individual, and I will also say for the communities.
Right.
In a world where we're talking about what do you call brain drain, talent going from India to the West, I would say there's a brain drain of talent coming from the rural areas to the urban cities. So we are now trying to reverse that and ensure that the talent stays in the rural areas so that we can develop that particular economy and make the livelihood of those communities much better.
Right.
I think it's a great win-win situation, Priyanka. And you guys are doing a phenomenal job and a very yeoman work in trying to preserve the rural heritage of this great country. So I'm a hardcore HR guy, and recruitment is something dear to me. So when it comes to talent scouting, how do you go about identifying the talent which you should induct into the centers in your rural areas? And what are some of the specific traits or skills that you look during this particular process?
As I mentioned earlier, we look for a certain education qualification, but we look for the attitude. We focus on their abilities, we focus on their basic skills, common sense, the practical approach to do something. So this is what we focus mainly. So if a person is very good, so we sometimes we met candidates who have not even they have passed say senior secondary or something, but they are not able to finish the graduation, but they have a very sharp mind, right? You can meet a person, you can come to know the basic skills. So they will answer something like, see, mainly sometimes we have some work which is based on some Google search, we have to do some analysis. So if these kind of the presence of mind is there, so we don't mind giving them the opportunity. So this is something in rural area. We go to colleges also. We take fresh graduates also. We have some foundation associated. The people trained in foundation. We give them the opportunity to work if they want to work, because we have certain volunteers also. So all these things in a mix we take from the rural areas. We think if they are fit for us, if we certain like a bit of more training also will help us in enabling the skills and then livelihood, then we don't mind giving it also. So this is how we go. like other companies, we go to colleges. We take graduates. We have engineers. We have graduates. We have MBAs and all with us working for us on various roles. This is the same which everyone is using, but when it comes to like some qualification gap, but the person is very smart to do some certain kind of work for us, we take them on board. But it all depends on your abilities, skills, and attitude.
Right. So I think it's coming out very clear that, as they rightly say, that it's the attitude which determines your altitude and not the aptitude, right? So, however skilled you are, but unless you have the right attitude, you're not going to progress much, both in the professional and the personal life. And that's a great example that you've given to us. So, Priyanka, we're just coming to the end of this discussion. So, what next for IndiVillage, and how big are you planning to scale up, and and are you moving into other cities? Are you getting into other domains? What's next for the IndiVillage Tech Solutions?
In the village, we have a vision to open many more centers, right? So right now we are in discussions on opening more centers. So every year, if we target more centers, like one quarter and one center in a quarter, so this is how we vision ourselves. It's not like very well written on the paper right now, but we have planned to come to different cities. We have planned to open more centers. You can say we want to have our presence all over India. Though we may try certain new domains also, but that will come on a later time. Right now, in our existing domains, if we'll get some new clients, we get some new work, we get some growth, then we will be opening multiple centers. This is what how we aim. We want to see us present in all over India.
Very interesting, because I heard Mr. Ravi Machani saying the other day that his dream or his vision is to have a center in every district in this country. And when I hear from you that every quarter, I think it's a great, ambitious plan. And you have a big role from an HR perspective, from a chief of staff, and of course from the finance perspective to make the dream come true, right? For long, it's been said that the future of India lies in its villages, and I think people like Mr. Ravi Machani and the Machani Group, headed by people like y'all, are making it really come true. Because there's so much of talent which is available in the uh, rural side of this country, rather than just migrating to the cities and working in some low end of the jobs. You guys are giving. In fact, I was wondering how come AI, tech, and data science and automation resonates with the rural areas, right? But you've been able to make it come true, doing some great yeoman work, both in terms of serving the customers as well as preserving the heritage, the rural heritage of this particular country, and of course, bringing some prosperity to the individuals, the families, and the communities at large. So, Priyanka, any last few words you want to say about your experience of working with IndiVillage and touching the lives of the rural people?
See, this is very like sometimes it's a very overwhelming thing, but we feel gratitude. Like, see, see our management, Mr. Ravi Machani, Mr. Ramesh Machani, they are so they have given this. They have some dreams, and then we all are executing that. And right now, if you see the vision of IndiVillage, so when we were, I belong to a small town. So when we were qualified at that point of time, we were certain we have to step out of the house, right? And then if and that time our parents are okay, then they allowed us come out of the house, and we are working now and now more than 15 years. But there are many other ladies, many other people who are not able to step out of the house, and then if we can create some opportunities for them together, it is nothing like this, right? And then it is something when you give someone something which they are dreaming of, but they are unable to go outside their houses. And then when they get it inside sitting their house, it is like something you are giving a joy, you are giving some pride to them, and at the end you feel that this is something which you achieve. You earn, you are working, for sure you are earning something, but now you are getting some mental satisfaction out. This is something I really like about this job.
Right. End of the day, all of us work for satisfaction, right? The mental
Right.
satisfaction.
Right.
And what better than when you're touching the lives of people and their families and their communities. Thank you so much, Priyanka, for sharing some of your valuable experiences, insights, and sharing some of the best practices of how the IndiVillage Tech Solutions Company is leveraging the rural talents and developing individuals in the rural communities and also encouraging the economic prosperity of the communities. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.